Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture and entertainment news website. Now, guys, before we get to our interview today, please make sure that you like our YouTube channel, and please, if you're listening on our podcast, please subscribe and a five-star rating, please. Today's guest is a Spotify verified artist. She has as of this recording, she has 3.4 thousand YouTube subscribers, 11.7 thousand Instagram followers, and 34,000 Facebook fans. She performed alongside Diplo and Luis Fonsi and also Raven-Symone. In addition, she appeared on the Latin Grammy Awards, the MTV Telemundo Christmas Special, and Good Morning America. So please help me welcome Lex to the podcast.
Thank you. That was such a warm welcome. Wow. Can you introduce me all the time, everywhere I go?
Have this playing with you, and then we'll talk. All right, Lex, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
All right, so let's get down to business. So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve to desire to pursue a career in the music industry?
Great question. My mom was actually a singer in the worship choir, so every Sunday I would watch her sing on stage, and growing up, that's what I wanted to do. So I joined the worship choir for the youth choir, and I had my first solo at 7, and honestly, that first time I was in the spotlight, I had a huge 60-piece adult choir behind me, and that's just some energy that I really can't explain, and I wanted that. I was like, this is a moment that I want to remember forever, and I want to do this for a living. So that was kind of the pinnacle moment in my life where I was like, this is what I want to do. I love the spotlight, love the stage, love the energy you get from being on stage. So that's kind of how I got interested in music. And then my parents put me in vocal lessons, and I got connected with someone named Rodney Alejandro, who became kind of like my first mentor. And he taught me all the foundation I needed to know, from recording in the studio to performing on a stage to even just walking a red carpet and, dancing and singing at the same time. It's very difficult. But yeah, so I started at a pretty young age.
I totally agree. Now, today in our industry, there's not a lot of people that can sing and dance at the same time.
It's tough. It's tough. I try to keep up on it by running in place and singing, kind of like, somebody just did that. I saw like a TikTok, and they got millions of views on it, and she's running and singing, full blown singing. And she's like, this is how I tour, and this is the only reason why I can sing and dance at the same time. So I definitely need to get better at it, but it's very difficult.
That sounds like Pink, if you ask me, because she's so super active and always delivers great. Or Gwen Stefani, too.
Oh, Gwen Stefani was one of my idols growing up. I loved, no doubt.
Same with me. Have you ever seen Gwen perform live?
I have. I got to see No Doubt perform in Irvine. It was years ago, but I saw them, and then I saw Paramore open the show for them. So that was one of my favorite concerts I went to.
I actually saw Gwen Solo, and actually when she was in Kansas City, and she had Eve as her guest opener.
Wow, that would have been so fun to watch.
Gwen does a lot of great stuff. She's a great performer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember she had first of all, she was running around the stage singing flawlessly. And then she put the mic on the ground and did push-ups and started singing into the mic. And that blew my mind. After I saw that, I was like, that's my goal. Do push-ups on a stage and sing at the same time.
I remember, now that you mention it, I just remember having like a flashback of like Pink and Gwen Stefani were doing collaboration once on stage. And I remember that Pink actually paid homage to Gwen by doing those push-ups on the stage before they sang together.
Yeah, I mean, that was an iconic moment. That was so great.
All right, so besides Gwen Stefani and Pink, who are your biggest music industry role models, and how do they influence your sound?
Well, I love Bruno Mars. He's definitely one of my favorites. I really respect him because he is just an overall entertainer. He can write, he can sing, he can dance, he can play instruments. He does everything. So, and when you go to his shows, I think I've seen the 24 Karat tour about 3 times now. I'm obsessed. But just the way that he interacts with the crowd and the way that, he brings his whole band into it. And you're in an experience. You're in the Bruno experience, and I'm all for that. Another big influence I had was Queen. And my dad used to only have a couple CDs in his car back before, we have Spotify and Apple Music and all that. But growing up, he only had Queen and Mariah Carey Christmas album. And I think there were a couple other ones, but those were the two we listened to a lot. So I definitely feel like the airy fairy stuff I do all comes from Mariah. Obviously, now we got Ariana in the mix, and I love her too. But then the Queen influence comes from those big anthemic stadium songs. That's what I love.
Oh yeah, I actually saw Queen 4 years ago with Adam Lambert at the Barclays Center. They put on a phenomenal show.
I'm so jealous of you.
And I'm so jealous of you because seeing Bruno, probably one of the greatest entertainers for our generation.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Hands down. I love him.
All right. So every time I do a podcast, everyone, I always do my research. And what I found out from your press list is like, you 14 years old and you shared the stage and held your own with Raven-Symone. So how did that opportunity happen?
So my mentor, Rodney Alejandro, he was working with her at the time, and he told me, if you practice really hard this summer and if you really put a lot of time into like crafting or perfecting your craft, then I might be able to get a chance for you to perform with Raven. So you have to work really hard this summer. And that was kind of like my bribe of working really hard. Because I growing up, I was one of those people who didn't really like to practice. I just loved the game. I loved the performance. I loved the show. So he kind of like bribed me to practice a lot. But that summer I worked my butt off, and he asked Raven-Symone, he showed her my songs, and she said, yes, I'd love to have her open for me. So it's funny because I went to the Arizona State Fair, and like I said, I was 13, 14 years old. And this was a big moment for me. I left school for this. And then when I got there, they told her, we don't want an opener. We just want people to get in, see you, and get out. So now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just came all this way and I can't sing. But she was like, forget that. You're singing tonight. And she stopped her whole show. And in the middle of her show, she told everybody, do you mind if I bring out one of my buddies? She's going to perform one of her songs for you. Let's hear it for Lex. And so, at the time I was also called Lex Rocks. So that was my little stage name. And she stopped her whole show for me. And that was a moment that I will never forget. And I'm so grateful for her. I sang one of my songs, and then I also closed the show out with them doing Double Dutch Bus.
Nice. And good on you, Raven-Symone.
Oh, yes. Raven, if you ever watch this, I love you so much, and thank you for that opportunity.
Awesome. So also, just to fast forward a little bit, 4 years ago, you actually performed with Diplo and Luis Fonsi on the Latin Grammy Awards stage. So what were some of the lessons that you learned from both of them that helped you grow as an artist?
So Diplo came on towards the end, and the way that the EDM flavor just kicked into groove, it changed the whole end of the song, and it was this huge moment that was just super special. So I think for me, learning something from him was always use one of those moments where there's a twist in the song or something that catches their attention, because people's attention spans are really short now, and you have to add some flavor to keep them engaged. So that was one thing I took from Diplo. Luis Fonsi, let me tell you, that guy is incredible. The way that he just got up there, and I forget what instrument it was, but there was just his voice and an instrument at the very beginning. And it was so beautiful, and it really showcased his voice. And he took you on a journey when he was singing. And he also, he was very personable. And during the rehearsals, he would talk to us, and he would come up and thank us for being there. So just as an overall artist, being aware of the people who are on your team and the people who are helping you, because at the end of the day, it takes a village. That that performance, there was 4 different artists because it was Luis Fonsi, Victor Manuel, Bomba Estéreo, and Diplo. So there were
Wow.
4, yeah, there were 4 artists on the song itself, but then there were about 3 backup singers, an entire horn section, a full band, dancers, the whole thing. So there was a lot of people that went into it, and I really appreciated his generosity and how humble he was, even though he's Luis Fonsi with the biggest Latin song. So yeah, I'm really grateful for that.
And it sounds like he's a class act as well. I love to hear musicians that are class acts, because we hear a lot of horror stories about these performers and everything. So thank goodness that both Raven and Louise were class acts.
Yes, I've been very blessed to be surrounded by good people in this industry.
All right, so let's get to talk about some songwritings and the stories behind them. I selected 4 of your tracks, and I would love to hear the story behind each of them, if you don't mind.
Perfect.
Let's talk about your most streamed song on Spotify with 160,000 streams as of this recording, One Regret.
One Regret. So I wrote One Regret a while back, and it was one of those songs that it's just a very playful song. And I was coming out of a relationship, and I was kind of in this really confident stage of I'm free and I'm happy and I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to go out and have a fun night and nobody's going to tell me how it's going to go down. I'm calling the shots tonight. So it's just a really fun, playful song. I took on some island flavor. So that's definitely one of my favorite songs. I shot the official video in Venice in California. And then I did a choreography video, actually right before COVID hit. So it was, I moved back to Vegas from LA, January 2020. I rounded up my crew and said, all right, let's do a music video. Let's get this thing going, because I had a collection of songs, and actually One Regret, Blame on Me, Stolen, Naked Truth was in there as well. And we have one more that's going to come out from that session. But I had this catalog and I wanted to figure out what is the best, what can I do with this catalog to make the best use out of it? And we decided, visual is king and I need more music videos. And I wanted to put together my team here based in Vegas. So my choreographer reached out to all his people, and he worked with Cirque du Soleil. He now runs a show at Area 15. So he's killing the game over there, but he has a lot of connections in the entertainment industry here in Vegas. So I was very fortunate to have met all these great people, my stylist, my hair and makeup lady, my dancers, my camera crew. Everybody here in Vegas is amazing. And we did this choreography video, and then COVID hit. But everybody was on a high from this One Regret video, and we were excited to do the next one. But I mean, with COVID, it was really unfortunate. Everybody either got laid off or their jobs got put on hold. And fortunately for me, everybody was able to have a creative outlet for the next song. So that One Regret video both videos have very special meanings to me, and the song is just very playful and fun.
Awesome to hear. Now, I got to clarify this, guys. It's 160,000 streams, not 1,600. 160,000 streams. I got to clarify that before we move on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk, while we're on the subject of Blame on Me, let's talk about that song.
Oh, Blame on Me. Okay, so it was in the same session where I was talking about, I had just gotten out of a breakup. And so One Regret was kind of like the moving on, the fun. Blame on Me was looking back at the relationship and showing that it was very toxic. And now looking back on the relationship, it's telling him, oh, look how amazing I am without you in my life. And I know that sounds really mean, but I didn't mean it for it to come off rude or cocky or anything like that. But the line, did I mention I'm amazing? In my eyes, when I was recording it, at first it was just one line in the song and that was it. Carry on. In the studio, I made the conscious decision that the world needed to hear this line more. So I decided to add it more in the song. So that was kind of on the spot, and that line became one of my favorite lines. And it's just something really positive for people who are coming out of any toxic relationship situation. You are amazing, and you are amazing, and just keep doing what you're doing, because you should be happy, and you should, I don't think that toxic situations should define who you are.
I totally agree on that. I totally agree on that. Now, you also said that love in my veins was also part of that same catalog.
Oh, Loves in My Veins is actually not part of that one.
Really?
Yeah, Loves in My Veins was written, it was written actually beforehand. So the chronology of how everything came out is a little bit jumbled, but yeah, Loves in My Veins it was totally different than anything else I had done, and it was a little bit more on the dark side, but it's also talking about something more positive, about I have love in my veins, even though I wasn't looking for it necessarily. And I've fallen so deeply for you that it could potentially hurt me, but I don't care. I'm going for it.
Awesome. Now, your latest single, Naked Truth.
Naked Truth. So, Naked Truth was part of that other session that I was a part of. And this is the song that it's the really difficult conversation you don't want to have with somebody, but you have to. And I'm not the best at confrontation. So I felt the best way for me to tell this person was in a song. So how it came about is I wanted the story to kind of lead up to make you think, oh, this is going to be a great night. We're going to have fun. And then just hit them in the heart with, I'm not in love with you. And this is really fun, but I just don't feel the same way that you do. And, it's really hard to tell somebody that, you have something great going together, but you just don't really see them in your future. And it's better. I've learned through my relationships, it's better to just be straight up and honest at the beginning than have you hurt anybody, have either one of you hurt later down the road. So this is that really difficult song that you don't ever want to have that conversation with. But I personally hope that other people out there who are in a similar situation than I was, I hope that they can take this and, realize that they're not alone. And this is something that happens to almost everybody.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. So, now you mentioned you have a team, but who are the dream collaborators? I'm talking about singers, I'm talking about songwriters, I'm talking about producers that's on your wish list, and how would they enhance your sound?
Ooh, okay. Dream collaborators. I have so many. Definitely Bruno. Love Bruno. I would also love to write with Ryan Tedder. I think that would be a super fun collab. Charlie Puth is definitely high up on my list. Who else? I mean, it's so fun. I mean, let's see. Max Martin, 100%. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different people that I want to work with. It's so hard.
You pick some incredible people. Like, I could definitely see you with all of them. And Max Martin, holy cow, if you had a chance
Ooh.
to have a song by him, I'm
that would be fun.
he's transformed wonders for Britney, for NSYNC, for Celine, for Backstreet Boys, for a lot to Ariana and Taylor and The Weeknd. So he's had a lot of success.
Yes, that would be incredible. I'm waiting for that day.
All right, we got to start winding down our conversation. So, what are your favorite social media outlets? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and why do they stand out?
I personally love Instagram the most. I started going on TikTok as well, but I would say Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok are like my number 3 or top 3. And why do they stand out? I think I don't know, because they all add visual and audio. So I think for me, I don't know, I never really got hooked on Twitter. And Facebook I just use it more for like the groups that I'm in. But yeah, I would say too that my audience is mainly on Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you had the opportunity to meet with aspiring artists that want to elevate their career to a next level, what advice would you share with them?
Mentorship. Definitely. I mean, you are always a student. I'm always a student. I'm learning new things every single day. And honestly, if you just put time in every day to your craft, you will get better. There's no doubt about it. So I would say keep working for it, find the right mentors, and always stay a student.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, one final question I have is this. Where can my audience find your music and connect with you on social?
Yep, you can find me at lifeoflex.com, and it's spelled lifeoflx.com. But all my socials are Life of Lex as well, so you'll find me if you just type that in.
Awesome, guys. Now, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker channels. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Once again, it's Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, Lex, Jake's Take, the original platform that started it all, is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year.
Congrats! Wow, that's incredible.
Thank you so much. And also, I believe I have a song, Naked Truth, on one of those music reviews.
Yay! Thank you so much for your support. That means the world to me.
Awesome, awesome. So, guys, if you want to visit the blog that has started it all, head to jakes-take.com. Once again, jakes-take.com. Now, if you're financially able to, please consider heading to my PayPal channel. Help keep jakes-take.com and my platform up and running. I do a lot of stuff for you guys, and I do a lot of stuff, and I love to do it. And if you're able to, that'd be wonderful. But if you're not, a good subscribe to all my social media and also all the podcast channels would be wonderful. Lex, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been really fun.
Awesome. Now, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one. See you later.